Good evening and welcome to Conscious Gatherers. My name is Beverly Thompson and I'm here with AJ Royce.
Hello.
Hello. Today's date is November the 1st, 2022. So it's an 11/1/2022. So if you break that down, we're into, what do we say, nines?
Yeah, 9. That's a fantastic number.
Yeah, like things are ending and we're ready for the new beginning. So, of course, 111 is that, or 1111. So, anyway, we have, of course, I think, a very interesting information show for you tonight. We're going to bring up some pretty deep thoughts, and it goes along with what we had talked about this our last episode. And before we even do that, to get into what we talked about, what really is the grand plan, and then creating heaven on earth. So we're going to talk about that tonight, and both of us have our own way of saying it, and I think you're going to find it, at least I do, immensely interesting.
Yeah.
And it goes deep. So any questions, or I advise you to listen more intently tonight because of what is going to be shared. Last episode, we had talked about those that had departed, our communications with them, and afterwards I thought, did I say on the air that we had a bunch of beans in the house? And like, sure enough, I did. And so we thought we would bring that up to just let you know how that went. Do you recall, Roy?
Well, there were quite a few, and they were lined up to get in, actually, because there were a lot of people who had things to say. And so we were just trying to communicate with these people on the other side of life, to let them know where they were and that there wasn't anything to fear, and just helping them to gain a little bit more peace. And some of them started to get a little bit grabby, shall we say. And so we were letting them know that we don't go for that. Not tolerated. So what else was it that we told them, helped them to?
With helping them, and we did extend a lot of light out.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And you could see a lot of them went with it. I saw them in like a big semicircle. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them, you could just see with the light, they went on. They took it within themselves. It was interesting because they would almost back up, but I knew they were moving. They got what they needed, and they were using that to move on.
Yeah.
That's what I took from that. And other ones were little, you see, the grabby ones, they weren't quite getting it, and we talked to them for quite a while.
Yeah.
But said they had to leave. When they had to leave, they couldn't stay here, nor follow us home.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, I think you did have an old friend that.
Yes, but he was an old friend, and it was very, very interesting. And I'd like to keep that one to myself, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Not at all. But, you know how things go, and it's pretty interesting, some of the stuff that we do see, and when we're together, and not together for that matter, because we do talk back and forth quite often.
Yeah.
And it depends what we got going on in our lives, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, we thought we would share that with you, since we kind of left it hanging and on the last episode. So a lot of you listening have your own stories and have seen things, and talk to them. And I don't know why it scares people, and if their loved ones have passed on, but it kind of freaks people out when they leave these noises or whatever it may be. And it's like, hey, if they were in embodiment, would that scare you? Of course not. But it's that, it's that mystery of being not in the embodiment or in the solidness of the vessel.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I think that's something for us to get over, because they, yes, they've changed. They've gotten out of the body, but they're still, a lot of them are still very close to the earth and to the family, and they want to communicate.
Yeah, except for the ones that are very restless and mean to do harm. That's something else totally.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just them too. And there are, as we mentioned in the last episode, there are ones in the astral realm that are there to help out.
Yes.
Those that have that feeling. It's a little more, I called it the dim place only because I knew somebody that had gone there a couple times, and that's what she called it, the dim place. So I've continued with that. All right. We're going to leave that subject there, and I'm going to mention this because I just received this message. It's rather short. This is before we go into the grand plan. But this is what's going on now in the world. I call it a little bit of intel without saying too much. And that is, there will be a few more shenanigans pulled by the, I call them dark ones. However, this whole thing, the shenanigans, will not last long. There will be some CGI, meaning computer-generated images, used. However, the ones that are doing this, or I was trying to get what they were, what was being shared with me, but it was like it was the CGI could be proved that it was CGI, and so these ones that are pulling the shenanigans, they'll be outed. So there will be through. I'm thinking this is like soon, like now. All right, in our what we call our timeline. All right, there'll be lots of bluster, but that bluster won't hold up. So as you see this, so some of it may be scary. I'm not sure if that means a bomb, like a dirty bomb, or a fake atomic bomb. I said it, but I don't really know if that is ever going to happen, but it won't be real. So there'll be threats, but it's not going to be real. And maybe that's part of the bluster word I got today. So as we're going through this, I'm seeing us just move through it. And these people that are behind a lot of this nefarious deeds are being outed and
meaning exposed.
Exposed, yes, for what and truly who they are. And it's like we're not putting up with that anymore. So I think that's excellent. But do remain centered in your thought, word, and deed as we're going through this. So some people will be very surprised as to what they see and hear. But do remain centered. And again, it's a lot of bluster, a lot of CGI, a lot of shenanigans that may not be very nice. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, and just like anything else, the more fear you have, the dark place, those who hang out there are they feed on fear, and those ones in the dark place,
mm-hmm.
they can be walking around in human form. Don't be afraid, because there's truly nothing to be afraid of here.
Right. So, yeah, we don't need to feed them.
Yeah.
Stay in that love vibration. All right. Now, that's enough said with that. So we're going to go on and talk about the grand plan and heaven on earth and a little bit more into semi-physics of it. I don't know if I can say it that way, because it's like, wow, there's a lot of things coming up with us, and especially with Royce that she's going to share after I share here, that needs to go out now.
Yeah.
So those of you listening, if some of you are going to feel the importance of this, and indeed it's extremely important as to where we're at on this earth. And if you know of others that would be able to understand and feel of the messages that are being given, do share. Because I feel at this point that it's time for this information to be shared, and it's going to make a difference on this earth, and it's going to be a very positive movement.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get going. All right. Let's remember this journey to this earth plane is a playground for us to really recognize the greatness of ourselves. Okay. I don't know if we ever use the word playground, but to me, it's a good word to use because we've used this.
Yeah.
We played all kinds of roles in this so-called great experiment on this earth. And, we've been the villain and we've been the so-called victim. I don't like to use that word anymore.
But you're only a victim until you wake up and you say, oh, that was just something to learn from.
Exactly. There we go. Perfect. Therefore, there are many, and I've used the word before, nations present on earth at this moment. And by nations means that there are many intelligences from other planetary systems that make up our current human. Each of us may have a strong connection to Sirius or Pleiades or Arcturus or Antares or many of the above. And this is what we've talked about before. That is us as humans. So we're incredible humans. What we're
incredible,
really
diverse.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We're amazing. Those that recognize it. So this is the time that we're starting to realize also the composite of the many offshoots of ourselves. I've used the word aspects. Another word is offshoots. So that was brought up in one of my books and writings, and I thought, okay, that works too. So aspects, offshoots, either or. It's the same thing. So this grand adventure is bringing together factions of civilizations who felt that they were or are superior to other races and those that aren't. So it's bringing everybody in the playground of openness and equalness. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does to me.
All right, good. So as we're seeing our other lifetimes, because there are a lot of people that are seeing their other lifetimes, again, we've talked about this in many of our podcasts, so if you haven't listened to them, I recommend you go back and listen to them. But for today, just notice on these lifetimes and see the threads that connect each of the lifetimes to our current lifetime. So this is each of our stories. So as you look at these, don't judge them, as you said, there's reasons for it, but just witness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good word.
Yeah. And so it's like letting go of these fears that may have been in a past lifetime because of maybe some of our so-called deeds, but it was just to experience that. So it's not to judge it, but witness it. But it may make a difference into your feelings mentally, spiritually, emotionally, as well as physically in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Grand plan again. What is it? We talked about it. It's being implemented now. I think we said it in, 2 or 3 episodes ago. And so that's why we're bringing it up again to really explain it a little bit in more detail, that as much as we can. So that basically the grand plan is bringing more light into our physicality. And this has something that's not been made manifest in creation. At least this is what I've been told. So, go with that, use discernment. But I've been told. I think Alex Collier mentioned, we have royalty within us. In other words, we're such a mixture of greatness that we don't recognize, and we're starting to recognize it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, because of this, our inner workings are being adjusted our DNA structures are being enhanced for better reception. Now, what does that mean? And so it's reception to others as well as to our other offshoots, our other selves, our other aspects of others, our family. I mean, that kind of keeps going on and on.
And the energy from the cosmos.
There you go. And that's, energy of cosmos. Is that us? I know, it's like, whoa. Wait till she gets into her stuff. It's like, whoa. Okay. Therefore, basically, is creation is adjusting itself for our enhancement. And this is kind of summarizing what we just said, and the enhancement of the totality of all that is. All right. So be aware and alert of the transitioning going on in your bodies, the Earth, Sun, and the other planets. The darkness is being lifted, and we will begin to act with wisdom, trust, and integrity. I see it happening now.
Yeah.
All part of the grand plan. But remember, our free will remains in place. So the old ways have to fall. We're seeing it now. Before the new and grandiose ways of being are manifested. Use the feeling of gratitude in everything you say and do, and it keeps you in that higher vibration. So also talking about gratitude, be very grateful for your existence, for you are God incarnate. And I can say that, and because I feel it's indeed who we are. We're at the hand of God, or whatever words you want to use, but we're here as a part of all that is. And I call another word could be God. You know, we've used that word, but all that is all that is. So, all right. Royce, are you ready to share?
Sure. Now, I come from an engineering background, so keep that in mind. I get very detail-oriented, and that's just the way I see the world. You know, they say that God is in the details. I see it. Mm-hmm. So Bev told me she wanted me to approach the grand plan through this, and so that's what I'm doing. She asked me.
I was going to say I recommend it. All right.
Okay, so the grand plan, what is it? In engineering, a plan, literally, is a blueprint, a drawn-out document with diagrams for illustration. In other words, what you have are drawings of something specific, along with a documentation of how that thing operates. This includes what type of energy it takes to operate the thing, and where it gets that energy from, as well as how that energy flows from the power source all the way through the object itself. On a very grand scale, that's what sacred geometry is all about. Diagrams of the inner workings of all that is, all that could be, along with what empowers it and how it works. So how does this grand plan relate to our everyday lives? I always begin my sacred geometry studies with a dot, just a black dot on a sheet of paper. What that dot stands for is the whole of everything that was and is and ever could be. In essence, the dot is the fully realized potential, the potential for everything. You may wonder how a dot could be a fully realized potential for everything. Like, how could a dot be an airplane? We see the dot as being something that is finite, like there's nothing more that it could possibly be besides a simple dot. But that is until we consider that the dot is infinite within. I've long said that there is more space inside than outside, and now I understand what I was saying because my understanding of sacred geometry has expanded. It is expanded inwardly, following a reflective pattern of space expanding inwardly within the dot. Now, I have written something on the concept of reflectivity, and this tells us that the patterning of one thing is reflected into the patterning of something and everything else, whether it be in form or function. Through this patterning, information connected to it, implied as well as realized, is the pattern followed throughout all that is. It's like the continual, ever-present rebirth of the beginning. So keeping this in mind, when we look inside the dot, we aren't unlocking the potential held within the dot. We are unlocking our perception of the potential held within the dot. We expand inwardly. The shell of the dot of anything is finite, limited. But what's inside the shell is infinite. The seed of the mighty oak is the nut that falls from the tree. Inside that nut is all the nutrition and information needed to grow another mighty oak. But what about the shell? What becomes of it? It transforms itself into soil, while the concept of the shell becomes the atmosphere which wraps its arms around the earth and protects the development of the oak as it grows and spreads its limbs and sinks its mighty roots deeper and deeper into the earth. The limitation of the shell, meaning the limitation of the containment of the dot, expands with the growth of our perception of the potential. The dot then keeps getting bigger and bigger as we explore what lies within. If we can perceive the power held within the potential, there is nothing we cannot achieve, and that is the grand plan. We are a species on the cusp of the full realization of the potential held within each and every one of us.
Huh.
So there.
All right. I think she explained it quite well, especially using the what do you call it, symbol or metaphor of the oak tree, and you know those acorns, those nuts that fall off the oak trees, and how it's contained. Yet it contained everything for another mighty oak to grow.
Yeah, yeah.
And so these so-called seeds, I use that term, which is us and our makeup, our consciousness. Trying to figure out how to even say this.
It's like the beginning and the end is held within.
But there's never an end.
Itself. That's right.
There's never an end.
And want me to tell you why there's never an end? It's because all of that space within, all of that, whatever it is, that potential that's inside the dot, that is inner space. And I heard while I was working on this afternoon, you wanna know something really cool? And what I saw in my mind's eye was that inner space has an inner space, which has an inner space, and it keeps on going because of that concept of reflectivity. The patterning is reflected inward and inward and inward infinitely. It turns our physics upside down.
Yeah, it sure does. As we see space, outer
yeah.
space, is that inner space that
and it's that there is outer space, but that outer space is within
the dot.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's moving inwardly.
I keep thinking about, I'm going there, about a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
So the black hole, it's an implosion.
Yes.
Pulls everything in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's on the other side of a black hole? Shoots out white light.
But there is actually a interior star that's created at a critical point when so much energy is pulled in. It creates an interior star. And that star reaches a critical point where it has to release that energy. And with the black holes, it does that, spewing out the top and the bottom. With our particular, not the solar system, but our
galaxy.
Thank you. The word escaped me. With our particular galaxy, we see it as being this flat plane on a 15-degree angle. But with the black hole, when that interior star spews out the energy out of the top and the bottom, that is pure gamma radiation. And it spews out the gamma radiation, which is at the highest point of the electromagnetic field. Pure, pure, pure. You can't see it, but it is super, super powerful. What it does is it reaches only out as far as our galaxy is wide. So that tells me that there is an encapsulation of our galaxy, and it is not flat. It is a sphere. It follows the patterning of the dot, which is a sphere itself. So, sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but I did.
No, don't be sorry. It's like, really, wow. There's a lot to think about there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because we see pictures, pictures of our galaxy, and it's a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many millions or billions, I don't know, of planets and stars
Mm-hmm.
being like our sun, within the galaxy.
Yeah. And it's all being renewed with that purified energy. Everything that gets pulled in
Mm-hmm.
is compacted to such a point that it's actually a purified, it's like a recycling center that breaks everything down to a clean form so it can be reused.
But can you explain what the neutron star is? Because they will, they implode and then they explode.
I don't have anything to say about that right now.
Okay.
I will now that you brought it up, but not right now.
Okay. Yeah. It gets kind of, as Roy said, it's our perception, and it's the inner and the inner and the inner. And I've been told numerous times there's no out there.
Yeah.
And it's such a hard concept because we're such spatial people. And I myself I myself am one. Yet it's not out there. Even though we continue to use that word because it fits what we see in our physics here on Earth. And that is changing as we're going to start seeing more and realizing more. And that's all part of the grand plan, is to start changing our perception into how reality, part of reality works. You bring up a word for me. We had talked about what is real, what's really real. Nothing and everything.
Yes. How far will you let your mind expand?
Yeah.
How far will you take it?
Yeah. Wow. All right. Right. Do you want to bring up any more on that?
I don't think so. I was just looking to see if I had something that I could tell you about neutron star, and not at this point, but I will.
All right. We could bring that up in another episode. Okay. Let's keep going. I was going to bring something up, and I've got to go find it now. All right. Give me a moment here. All right. Royce brought up the word of collective consciousness. And you care to explain what collective consciousness is?
Well, it's, how would you put that into words?
Especially on this earth, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like there's an energy field that is conscious, that it entails the entirety of the earth and all the space around it.
And inhabitants.
Yes. There isn't any place where this is not. So it gets imbibed with certain charges.
Okay.
And the charges hold information, and that information is transferred to everyone. It's like there for the grabbing,
For the grabbing.
Yes.
Well, to put it another way, because I'm looking at it too, it's a combination of all of our consciousnesses.
Yeah.
It's a combination.
Yep, I see that.
Okay, I'm going to share this with you, and this is from my book called In the Inkling, and it explains it a little bit more. They said, "Dear ones, allow your world to unfold. Stay out of the control of how this will be done." I know, I question that too.
Can you read that again, please?
Yeah, stay out of the control of how this will be done.
Okay.
Let spirit, that is the spirit of the collective consciousness, be your guide. Now, the new collective consciousness is that all of you together as one on your world of form, connecting to the other aspects of each one of you. So the new collective consciousness is the all of you together, all of your higher selves together as one. Higher self is a combination of all your aspects, right? So can you imagine such an existence? So it is in this day that we impart this knowledge to assist you as you move forward in the evolution of mankind on planet Earth. Allow the higher self, the God that you are, filter into the physical you, what we talked about earlier. Allow the higher vibrations of being integrate into every cell of your body. From this point of self-acknowledgement, see the tangible results of your heart energy taking control or seeming control of your life. It is your power grid that will stimulate you into a more refined state of grace, a refined state of existence. It is the motivation of the surplus of heart energy that will catapult you into manifesting the divine visions of joy and happiness. So there you go. I mean, that's basically, where we're going, and talking about, creating heaven on earth. It's that, it's that wisdom, that no fear. We talked about, are you ready? People are getting the words, are you ready? What in the heck does that mean? And that's fear for anything and anyone is non-existent. The treatment of all others, including all humanity and all living things upon the earth, is with respect and love. Looking for another to do it, whatever it is, having somebody else do it for you does not work. However, to have another assist when asked by you and gladly accepted by them is non-interference in your own unique individuality as well as theirs. The word, again, is respect. So talk about, okay, I'm ready to ascend. Okay, what does that mean? That's what that means. You've got to let go of all of that baggage that we've collected through all these lifetimes. Judge not, witness, let it go.
Yep.
So
come to the full realization of the potential held within.
Yeah. It's amazing. What other word do you want to use?
I know.
Grandiose. It's like, whoa. So, there you go.
But we were talking earlier about how there have been different ideas, different concepts, different little bits of information that have been put out into the collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few on the planet who, at the same time, grabbed a hold of that information and registered patents for the same device or whatever it was, but things that would help humanity to keep on evolving.
We ever use the word collective consciousness of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the more of this is in the field, people will start understanding, and we're going to start seeing new ways of being because they're going to hear this and start understanding and come up with their own ideas within the whole of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess I was going to use the word pulling, so I'm going to use the word pulling or communicating with other aspects. That could be on or off the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's this coming together of nations, because there's been this warring going out there. It's like, which is bigger than I thought it was because of some of the things that a lot of people are seeing. But what I see is that's all going to stop. And there's certain beings that will be unable to be in that more loving, higher vibratory rate, way of saying it.
Can't handle it. So.
They can't handle it. And so, some reptilians, that sort of type being, and not all, some, that will live elsewhere, put it that way. So this is all going on now. So the more that we evolve, everything evolves, because it's the inner, she said.
Where we go one, we go all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's from the movie White.
It was White Squall. It was written on the mast bell of the ship called the Albatross. Mm-hmm. Where we go one, we go all. That whole ship had to work together, and that's a great idea to spread on this planet. We can go far in our journey when we work together.
Definitely. So as we work through these shenanigans that are still happening, and then we're starting to see through it because we're all waking up to understanding more of ourselves and our potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that word, potential. So, all right. Well, thank you. I think we shared quite a bit tonight. And some of you, if you have any questions or any comments or added information, gladly share, please. So any words that you want to end with?
I just wanted to tell everyone, as I try to tell you each time, that I love you. And when the world seems kind of dark and the way seems kind of murky, just know that you are loved beyond your wildest dreams. You have someone right there beside you. So see yourselves as being beautiful, because that's what you are.
It's okay to hug yourself.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, do it.
Look in the mirror and tell yourself that you are beautiful and you are worth being here and sharing what you have within. We all need what you have within. There are treasures there. So tell yourself, even if you don't believe it, just keep telling yourself over and over again, looking in your own eyes, you are beautiful and you're worth being loved.
You are a treasure.
Yes, you are a treasure.
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your sharing tonight. All right. Our next episode is in 2 weeks. And so that is on the 15th of November. So we're getting close to Thanksgiving already. Amazing. Thank you all for listening, and we appreciate you being part of the channel. And more to come, more to share. Looks like we're going to look into neutron stars now. So unless something else comes up. But thank you. We do love you.
Yes, and thank you for staying.
Definitely. Love to all. Good night.
Good night.